Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. This will be my update for weeks 5 and 6, and then after this is done, I'll be back on track for next week to be week 7. So come along with me and check out how my garden's doing. Because it's the morning, the lighting is a little odd, but I decided to do it in the morning because first of all, the afternoon is really hot, but second of all, I find it tends to be a bit too bright. Here are my potatoes with my lemon balm in the middle. Unfortunately, sometime last night, I suppose, one of my potatoes snapped. So I put it back here to try and, put it back into place. And I hope that won't kill the plant because it's otherwise doing really well. And my sweet potatoes are doing fine, I suppose. I guess I'd hope to see more growth from them, but in the next few days we're supposed to have a lot of sun, so if I can keep up on watering, they should jump up. Here are my Jerusalem artichokes, which are doing quite well. You can see how tall they are. And there I have my rows of beets and carrots, and my beets have come up. My carrots don't seem to have come up. My good King Henry has done fairly well. It's gotten a lot bigger. Not quite at the point where I could harvest some leaves because I don't want to totally get rid of what it's using to photosynthesize, but it's doing well. My little tiny basil right here, I don't know why it's not getting that much bigger. I mean, the basil that's still in my pots have gotten quite bigger. My marigold is doing pretty well though. My alpine strawberry. Chives, of course. Garlic. The garlic still isn't showing any signs of getting closer to being ready, which it will signify with the bottom 5 or 6 leaves wilting. My rhubarb is really bushing out, so I definitely think I'm going to be harvesting some soon. Potatoes that I need to fill in a bit more with some soil and then maybe hill a bit. Again, my sweet potatoes aren't doing as well as I would have liked, but they're not dead, so I guess that's all you can ask for. My bok choy hasn't yet come up, but my greens have. Let's see if we can. So I don't know if you can see the little greens that have popped up. There they are. And this is a mix that I mixed up with a whole bunch of seeds, including a lettuce mix, edible chrysanthemum, orac, golden purslane, arugula, a couple other stuff, and I just kind of mixed the seeds up and then threw them on the dirt and stamped them down. So it's nice to see that some is popping up. Some of my kale seeds do seem to be popping up as well. Unfortunately, the kale plant that I planted here seems to be dying, so I hope that's not a sign of what is to come with my seedlings. And here are more of my greens coming up, so that's exciting. Here's my asparagus bed, of course. I basically just let it go and let the spears will grow to full ferns so that they can photosynthesize and get energy stored up for next year. My hascat berries are doing pretty well. My comfrey is pretty big, and as you can see, it's been knocked over. My fruit bushes are bushing out nicely. Here are my 2 kiwi vines. With this one, I actually took the longest part of the vine and I kind of wrapped it a bit around the trellis here. And then with that one, it's still sort of attached to the stake that it came with, so I just have to find my ties and then kind of take off the ties from the store and start tying it to my trellis to train it to go up the trellis. My grapevine is doing really well. There's quite a few vines that have sprouted out, and so I'll be waiting for them to grow a bit more before deciding which one I think is the strongest vine and pruning off all the rest. This is a new little addition to my garden. These are called poppy sways, and I've got about 15, and I've only put about 4 in my garden so far, but I'll be putting the rest in later. The poppy sways fulfill 2 purposes. One, they look nice because they're different colors, and 2, they're actually a bowl shape, which means that when it rains they actually collect some water and then have that water to provide to pollinators, so bees, butterflies that are coming through my garden can stop and take a drink. And that's really good because it promotes more pollination by providing a water source. Here are my strawberries. The 6 on the outside are much bigger because I planted them earlier, and then a couple weeks ago I planted the 4 in the middle, and they're actually doing pretty well. To take a little break from my edibles, these are some Asiatic lilies that I planted probably a month and a half ago now, and I was really pleased when they opened up because they are really pretty. And here are my 3 potato bags. As you can see, the plants are quite large, and so yesterday I actually filled up the bags a little more with topsoil and mushroom compost. So they say that you can probably fill up about a foot of a potato stem and get more potatoes from that. So I might put in a little more dirt, but then I'll probably mulch with straw. Over here, along with my dill plant that came back up this year, I planted some beets, and as you can see, they have popped up. Some of them are clustered together because each seed is actually a bunch of little seeds, so they come up clustered together, and as they get bigger I'll have to thin them out. This is where I put my okra, and unfortunately the 2 seedlings that were here died, and this 3rd seedling is not looking very good. So I planted 2 actual seeds right here, and I'm hoping that they'll come up soon. Here's some peppers. I'm probably going to plant at least one of them, put another plant in because it's not doing very well. Unfortunately, my seedlings, I just did not start them early enough. Next year I'm going to start my pepper seedlings in February, and then as they get bigger I'll just transplant them into larger pots because I'm not sure how many of these little seedlings are going to survive. So here I planted carrots, parsnips, and rutabaga as seed. Next to my lovage, which has gotten quite large, there is the mint, which is the bushy plant, and then up front there are 2 jalapeno plants, which I actually bought, as well as a tomato plant, which I bought. Here are 2 broccoli plants, which I bought, a tomato plant, which I bought. That is anise hyssop, I'm pretty sure, because that's a perennial and I had planted it last year, and I'm pretty sure I planted in that spot. Again, like the lovage and the mint, the anise hyssop has actually come back despite my pulling it out and rototilling and adding mulched leaves to this whole garden, and then adding soil, so it's quite persistent. That's a tomatillo plant which I bought, and then along the back there's a whole bunch of bean plants that I grew from seed, a tomato plant that I bought, a tomato plant that I grew from seed, sunflowers that I grew from seed, more beans, cucumber, Some watermelon, although I'm not sure how well the watermelon is doing because they're quite small. More beans. Really, I think we're gonna have a lot of beans this year. And then a sweet potato plant. More tomato plants that I bought. And this was a nice surprise. These are potato plants that have come up. I know they're potato plants because well, first of all, they look like potato plants, but also because I planted potatoes here last year, and so they must have been 3 potatoes that I had missed, and so they stayed in the ground and then they sprouted. So there's one right there, one right there, and then you can see there's one right here. More dill that has come up, which I'm totally fine with because I love dill. And here's looking along the garden. Lastly, this is a handy dandy little machine called the Animal Chaser. I have one on this tree, and then I have another one over there. And basically what they do is they have this infrared sensor that goes out about 22 feet at a 70-degree angle, and when it senses movement, it releases a sound that is too high-pitched for humans to hear. So it tends to scare away deer, raccoons, anything that might come into my garden. And this has been thus far the most effective method in keeping deer out of my garden. Before I got these machines, the deer would often come in and just completely demolish all my seedlings. And since getting these, I haven't had any problems, so I'm really happy with them. So that's my garden update for the last 2 weeks. I did receive something in the mail today, but I decided to hold off on that because I want it to be part of another video. So look forward to that video. If I don't film it today, I definitely want to film it in the next couple days. So thank you again for watching, and let me know what's going in your garden this year, what's growing right now, what's just developing. I'd love to hear from you guys. So as always, if you like this video, please like, subscribe, it means a lot to me. And I guess I'll see you guys later. So happy gardening!